Hey y'all, it is Adina, and thank you guys so much for joining me for another cold case and missing persons reading. Um, if this is your first time watching one of these videos, welcome to my page. If you are a regular here, welcome back, and thank you for joining me, lending your energy to this reading. And not just to this reading, but to these cases that I go over. I don't do this for fun or entertainment. I do this to be able to give back to the spirits, um, to utilize my gifts in a way that others can benefit from them. This is my way of giving back to God. With that being said, like I said, this is another cold case and missing persons reading. If you saw the promo on my page that I did yesterday, then you know that this reading will be done on a young girl named Relisha Rudd. I'm going to say her name again, Relisha Rudd. She is a 9-year-old girl from the Washington, D.C. area. Let me try to fix my camera a little bit. Okay. She's a 9-year-old girl from the Washington, D.C. area who went missing in March of 2014. And she hasn't been seen or heard from since, to everyone's knowledge. Her body has not been found, so she hasn't been presumed to be dead. Now, if you are familiar with the Relisha Rudd case, then you can skip this little introductory phase. However, just let me give a little bit of background about this case. There are 3 people that are main characters in this case, and that is Relisha Rudd, her mother, Shamikayoung, and the person who is suspected to have abducted her. His name is kahliltatum. Okay? So those are the main 3 characters in the storyline of this case. And Relisha and her mother, and I believe at the time she had 2 siblings, 2 younger siblings, 2 other boy siblings from a different father from her. And they were living with Relisha's mother in a homeless shelter in Washington, D.C. And Relisha was reported missing by a counselor at her school. She had not been seen in school at the time that she was reported missing for 2 weeks, which means her guidance counselor had not seen her since, I think, late February sometime. And her mother had given the school a few excuses about why she hadn't been seen or heard from. The main excuse was that she was in the care of her doctor, kahliltatum, because she was having neurological issues. Now, kahliltatum was not a doctor. He was employed as a janitor at the homeless shelter that Relisha, her mother, and her siblings were staying at. And there was some sort of a relationship struck between Relisha's mother, Shamika, and this janitor. And this was enough of a relationship for Shamika to entrust her child in the care of Mr. Tatum, who was not known to be of any relations to Relisha or her mother. So it's presumed that that they met at this homeless shelter where they were staying and where he was employed. And for some reason, Relisha's mother allowed him to act as her godfather. He spent a lot of one-on-one time with Relisha. He took her places, movies, and things like that. He took her shopping. He took her around his family and had her playing with his grandchildren. So this man had a lot of one-on-one time with Relisha. Now, Relisha's mother is not the one who reported her missing, and she had not seen her for 2 weeks. It was the guidance counselor, as I said, and once the authorities were alerted and they began to search for her and they started to question her mother, she said she hadn't heard from either of them for 2 weeks, and the reason for that is because she didn't have a cell phone. She said that she dropped Relisha off with her grandmother, her mother, Shamika's mother, and Shamika's mother must have given Relisha to Mr. Kahliltatum, and from then on, nobody had heard from them for weeks. So even though she allegedly dropped her daughter off with her mother, not even she had claimed to have spoken to her daughter or Kahliltatum for about 2 weeks, and she did not report her daughter missing. She actually, when questioned by the guidance counselors at school, was the one to give them excuses about where Relisha was, knowing that Tatum was not a doctor, knowing that Relisha did not have neurological issues which caused her to be in the care of any doctor, let alone Kahliltatum, who, might I add again, was a janitor at the homeless shelter. So the search began for Relisha, and I want to say 48 to 72 hours later, this case began to go cold because Kahliltatum was found dead. So what happened was, after they began the search for Relisha on March 19th of 2014, I believe they traced Kahliltatum to a hotel somewhere in northeast Washington, D.C. And from there, they retrieved some kind of hotel video footage of Kahliltatum and relisharudd inside of the hotel, going into a room. I believe that they have footage of Kahliltatum leaving the hotel room without Relisha. And obviously they do, because they found his body, but they have never been able to locate her. So they received a tip that Relisha's body could be recovered at a park somewhere in Washington, D.C. But when they got there, what they found was Kahliltatum's body. He had, I want to say, at least two gunshot wounds to the head, but he was his death was ruled a suicide. And I know that he had multiple gunshot wounds because Relisha's grandmother, and the man that was the father of Relisha's siblings went on the Steve Wilkos show. And the grandmother and the stepfather took a polygraph test to clear themselves of any involvement in Relisha's disappearance. And their test came back that they were telling the truth, that they were not involved. However, Relisha's mother, Shamikayoung, refused to do a polygraph, and I don't want to say refused to cooperate with the police, but she refused to take a lie detector test, which would lead many to believe that she is hiding something. And that is my belief too. I have been on Shamika's Facebook page, and while I do not judge anyone, especially when it comes to these readings that I do. I went on her page when I wanted to see if I actually wanted to do this case. I wanted to see what I could feel around, pick up in the energy. You guys know by now that I like to look at pictures of people involved in these cases so that I could read them. And after looking at her mother and her interactions online, I decided that I'm going to do this case because there is no way that she was not at least negligent in this case. And that is not just an opinion of my own. I have seen multiple theories online about Shamika's possible involvement in the disappearance of her daughter. So some of the things that I say will not be said for the first time. This won't be the first time that they've been put out there. So just to move the storyline along, when I was looking at thumbnails yesterday for the promo video that I posted about me doing this reading, there were plenty of pictures of kahliltatum and Relisha because he is, according to police, the person who abducted her and is responsible for her disappearance. However, I didn't feel comfortable using his picture in the thumbnails because I don't feel like he was the end all be all in this case. Excuse me, guys. I didn't get the impression that he was the bigger picture in this case. I got the impression that he was more of a patsy. And if you guys don't know what a patsy is, it is someone who is set up to take the fall or take the blame for something that someone else is responsible for. That is the impression that I got off of him. And I'm not absolving him in any involvement because by all means, he was the last person to be seen with Relisha. And I do believe that he had some involvement. I just don't think that he was the person that we need to be solely focused on. I think there is a bigger story at play here. Now, before I get in the cars, I'm just going to tell you guys what my theory is. And this isn't based just solely off of things that I saw online because I didn't really read into other people's theories. I was looking for facts and information in the case that I can go off of to do my reading. And I'm going to say this. Because I have done another reading on a case where there was human trafficking involved, I want to say that this feels very similar. It reminds me of when I did the Sanaya Dennis case. That was the first reading that I had done where I picked up on human trafficking. And I want to say that Washington, D.C. is a hotbed for it just because of the people that reside in Washington, D.C. I'm going to say that when you have human trafficking situations, it has to be very organized, very, very, very organized. And for these children to go missing and to never be found again, like most children that go missing are usually never found again, especially if their bodies are never recovered. It has to be a concerted effort involving people that have the power to keep these things up and running and unsolved. So while I'm not coming out and saying anything specifically, I'm saying that this feels and smells very human trafficking. Um, and I believe that kahliltatum's involvement was that he was sort of a scout and a groomer, a handler. So I do believe that it was his job to scout children, especially at this homeless shelter, because these are the type of people who are usually targeted because they can disappear and it would seem as if no one would care. They live in poverty, they don't have connections to high society or anyone who it would seem like would be able to raise a big fuss if they were to go missing. And Relisha Rudd fit the bill 100%. They were living in a homeless shelter. Her mother didn't have a job, didn't have money. They didn't have a really, really, really big, solid family unit. It didn't seem like they had a solid support system. Otherwise, they might not have been living in a homeless shelter. So people in poverty are usually the ones who are scouted and approached for these situations. And I say approached because I absolutely believe that Relisha's mother benefited from her child's transaction. I believe that um, there was some gain on her end for her daughter being missing. And as I was taking a shower yesterday morning or night, and I was thinking about this case and, trying to feel out the energy, I kept hearing, it just got messy. I kept hearing over and over in my head, it just got messy. It just got messy. And so I got the impression that Relisha wasn't supposed to be noticed. Her disappearance wasn't supposed to raise any alarms. And kahliltatum and his wife, actually, his wife was found killed in the hotel that they tracked him to. And this was 24 hours prior to him being killed. So I think that Khalil and his wife were loose ends that needed to be tied up because none of this was supposed to come out. So they had to go. And his wife, while I don't believe that she was involved in the actual business of the disappearance of Relisha, I do get the feeling that maybe she found out something that she wasn't supposed to be privy to. And she became a loose end that needed to be tied up. I'm going to stick to that. I do understand that kahliltatum was caught on video purchasing items such as trash bags and lime and a shovel, things that would make you think that he was getting ready to kill someone and try to dispose of their body. However, I don't get that energy for Relisha. I don't think that because honestly, I can't pick up on whether she's dead or alive. And eventually, I may ask the cards that and I may not because I'm really more concerned with the circumstances around her disappearance. Because to be honest, if she is dead or if she's alive, I don't think that that would change a lot in where I'm concerned. I feel like if I look around the circumstances of her disappearance, it'll be more useful than saying yes, she's dead or yes, she's alive, because I may or may not be able to pick up on where she is and where anybody can find her. But I would like to know about some of the circumstances surrounding her disappearance. And I believe that she was trafficked. I believe that she was trafficked. So if I'm right about that, she won't be found unless the people who are responsible for trafficking her want her to be found. So I have a few questions that I want to ask. And some of these questions I got because there are some things that I found interesting. For instance, in my sleuthing, I came across an article published by a private investigations firm called Loth Investigations International, Inc. That is LAUTH Investigations International, Inc. And they produced some information from their investigation that was not released by the police and the FBI. And that was that the hotel, the Holiday Inn that the police tracked kahliltatum to and Relisha Rudd, on the night prior to the police showing up, I would say less than 24 hours before the police showed up, kahliltatum checked into that hotel. We know that. Relisha Rudd was with him. We know that because they released the hotel footage. However, what the police didn't let out and what this private investigative firm confirmed was that hotel staff or someone at the hotel saw kahliltatum at that hotel, but he didn't see him alone. They said that he was with 4 other men. 4 other men were there with kahliltatum, and then 3 of those men they saw leaving the hotel. This is the same hotel that they found kahliltatum's wife shot and killed at, where they said that he actually shot and killed his wife, and then 24 to 48 hours later, they said that he committed suicide. So they called this a murder-suicide. However, I was wondering, well, if there were 4 other men that were spotted there, and I'm sure if this private investigative firm was able to confirm that, then the FBI and the police were too, except that the police didn't release that. All they ever released to the public was kahliltatum. So the narrative that they were selling us was that there is no other suspect and no other possibility other than kahliltatum abducted and possibly killed this girl. And by him being dead and his wife being dead, this should make the case closed. But I was wondering, why is it that they didn't want to speak on the fact that there were other men there? Why are they hiding that piece of information? Why are they hiding the identity of these men that were spotted there with kahliltatum that night? And why is it not a possibility that maybe one of these men are responsible for killing Andrea Tatum, his wife, and kahliltatum, considering the fact that he had more than one gunshot wound and they labeled it a suicide? So this is what also made me feel like there is something else going on, and there's no footage of Relisha Rudd leaving this hotel, especially not with kahliltatum. So where did she go? Was she taken by these other men who the police are not allowing the public to know even were involved or even there? Because they would have us believe that kahliltatum did something with her. But I think that more people would ask questions if they knew that there were other men seen with Tatum allegedly at the hotel that night. And three of them left, but four of them were spotted with Tatum. It makes me think that this hotel was chosen because it may be a spot where transactions like this take place. A hotel where trafficking transactions may take place. And so there is a way for people to disappear without it being picked up on the camera. Or if it was picked up on the camera, a way for it to disappear. So, and also another reason that it seems very trafficky is because around the time that Relisha disappeared, while she was missing and unreported missing by her mother and her family, Shamika's boyfriend was online posting lots of money, posting new cell phones, new clothes, new shoes for the kids. And it would stand to wonder where they came into all of this money from. He literally took a picture with a stack of money in his mouth. And they were living in a homeless shelter. So while Relisha was missing, they came into some money. Where did this money come from? And also, how come you couldn't use one of those new cell phones that your boyfriend posted on his page to call your child? Because you said that you didn't have a cell phone. So you couldn't call and check up on her. You had no way of knowing for 2 weeks. Didn't report her missing because you thought she was safe with somebody. So one would stand to think that Relisha's mother sold her, possibly to Khalil or to someone else above Tatum. And I believe that Khalil was grooming her. However, I feel like he became fond of her. He had a granddaughter her age, and the more time he spent with her, I believe the more that he wanted to pull out of the agreement, pull out of the agreement that he made to hand her off. And I don't know if his wife found out and followed him to the hotel, or if he called her there so that she could take Relisha, because some people were supposed to be coming to take Relisha. I want to say in my heart that he didn't want to hand her off to be trafficked anymore. And I want to say that his wife ended up there because maybe he called her there and said something like, I need you to come and take Relisha before they get here. And, I don't know what may happen to me, but take her and run. But while she was there, it was too late. They got the other gentlemen who weren't named by the police got there and tied up some loose ends, because, as I said, I kept hearing that it got messy. Once the police were alerted that Relisha was missing by Department of Children and Families, who was alerted by her school teacher, the police had to act. And I don't believe that the whole police department was involved, but when that alert went out, I think it was like okay, we got to hurry up and do this because this just got messy. And we can't leave Tatum alive because he's getting cold feet. So he has to go because as I said, this wasn't supposed to come out. She wasn't supposed to, nobody was supposed to report her missing. And because his wife knew what was going on, they couldn't just take Relisha and then leave Tatum and his wife alive to tell the story. So they had to go because they were loose ends. And I believe Tatum was running for his life, not running because he had killed his wife. I think he was running for his life, but he got caught and he got killed. And now, now the case may never be solved because he's the patsy. And the public believe that he is responsible for Relisha's disappearance. And they believe that she'll never be found because they got him on camera buying a murder kit. So it will leave the people to believe, we'll never know what happened to her because the person who did this to her is dead now. And we know that he killed her because he was on film buying a murder kit. I don't see it that way, though. I see him being a patsy, and that is how this case can stand to not be solved. And I do know that the man that is the father of Relisha's younger siblings, after he was cleared of his involvement on the Steve Wilkos show by taking that lie detector test, he has been fighting for custody of his kids. I don't know if he's finally been granted custody, but he wants his kids out of the care of Relisha's mother, Shamika. Her mother was also cleared, and Shamika actually tried to place the blame on her mother by saying, "My mother is the one who handed her off to Tatum." The mother took the polygraph. Shamika did not. So the first person that I want to ask about is Shamika's mother, Relisha's mother, Shamikayoung. I want to start with her. The sun is in Cancer, so it's Cancer season. Cancer rules the 4th house of family and roots. And the moon rules the sign of Cancer. And the moon in traditional astrology is the mother. So it is the season right now of the mother. So I'm going to start with Relisha's mother because no matter who else was involved in Relisha's disappearance, her mother was the one responsible for her child. Did Relisha's mother make any kind of transaction with her child where she benefited from her child's disappearance? I don't want to say, did she sell her? I want to know, did she gain anything from the disappearance of her child, which is why she did not report her? Did she stand to gain anything by the disappearance of her child, relisharudd, Shamikayoung? Did she stand to gain anything by the disappearance of Relisha? I got the High Priestess in reverse. So this is secrets. This is something that is hidden. This is this is a woman standing in between the pillars, Boaz and Joachim, holding the Torah in her lap, and behind her is a veil. And behind this veil are mysteries and secrets. So it makes me think that Shamikayoung, how do I say this? Shamikayoung is hiding something. She's hiding something something that she, people can have secrets, but not really worry about them. Everybody has skeletons in their closet, but not everybody is always anxious about whether these skeletons will fall out. But the Empress in reverse is a real suppression of a secret. This is making sure that the secrets stay hidden. And I'm going to clarify it. Because the High Priestess, whether it's upright or reverse, means something hidden. Even a blockage of intuition. It's a feminine card. It's feminine because it is the number 2. The card is the number 2. I don't know if y'all can see the Roman numeral 2, but the card is the number 2, and 2 is a feminine number. Ooh, okay. Look. Clarifying the High Priestess. The Tower in reverse. The 5 of Swords in reverse. And the Moon card. Remember I just told y'all about the Moon and the Mother? But the Moon card in Tarot is also hidden things, hidden secrets. So, the Tower is in reverse because the information is already out. The Tower already fell. Everyone already knows about what the big secret is. However, there's manipulation, winning at all costs by being manipulative, because the Five of Swords is a manipulative card. It is gaining something by way of playing mind games. In the Moon card, secret. So it's almost like I asked if she had anything to gain from her daughter going missing. The bottom of the card is the Ten of Wands, overwhelmed and burdened. Okay, and on the front of the deck, we have the Eight of Pentacles, we have the Queen of Swords in reverse, and the Seven of Swords in reverse. So this is another card of lies and deceit. The Seven of Swords is another card of lies and deceit. The Queen of Swords in reverse is, people call it the bitch card, because this person can be bitter. It's a woman who can be bitter and manipulative. And the Eight of Pentacles, to me, this is an undercover job. This is making money under the table. There's a workbench here, but this card is in reverse. So this person is making money. He is literally making money. He is making these pentacles under the table, though. So Relisha's mother gained from this, and she's been lying about it. And keeping secrets. She knows the truth. She knows the truth because the Seven of Swords is in reverse. So she knows the truth. But she is physically keeping it a secret. Okay? Interesting. Was Relisha Rudd, you guys excuse the rain. When I do readings on cold case files, I like to do them outside, um, just because you could be channeling the dead. And even though I could cleanse the inside of the house, I just prefer the energy to be out in the open. And um, nature, I think clearer and I think better and I see clearer and better when I'm out in nature. So I'm going to ask, at the hotel, was there anyone who was supposed to take Relisha from kahliltatum? Because as it stands, they want us to believe that he did something with her. He just was fond of her. He probably was molesting her, and then he killed her once she was reported missing. However, I want to know if there was anyone at that hotel who he was supposed to give Relisha to. Was he supposed to hand Relisha off to anyone? Was he supposed to hand her off to anyone the night that she was last seen? Was kahliltatum supposed to hand Relisha to anyone? Was that the agreement? I got the Queen of Wands in reverse. And on the bottom, the Five of Wands. Five of Swords again. I wonder what sign her mother is. I'm going to clarify this card because I want to say that this is the mother, his wife. His wife. Bottom of the deck is the Justice in reverse. Interesting, because when I clarified this Queen of Wands, King of Swords in reverse. Now, these both have to do with the justice system, the legal system. King of Pentacles in reverse. Four of Swords in reverse. This is his wife. Somebody higher up. Somebody in a position of authority, in a position to abuse authority. Someone who also was invested financially in this situation didn't want her to talk. Because the Four of Swords in reverse is meaning I'm coming out of a period of silence and contemplation. I'm coming out of a period of meditation and basically not talking. So I think that my intuition was right when I said that he called his wife to come get her because somebody that was higher up involved and invested financially in this situation was coming to get Relisha. I absolutely believe that she was trafficked, and I believe that it was a human trafficking ring, And I believe that there were some kind of either government officials, someone in a position of authority, and someone with a lot of money that was very greedy and that was involved in this underhanded business came and shut her up so that she couldn't talk. And the justice is in reverse. Justice reverse meaning unjust, not getting justice. Also, the legal system. Also, not taking accountability. So on the bottom, it's like covering up your tracks. Doing something to cover up your tracks so that you don't have to take accountability. Justice upright is all about justice and telling the truth and being accountable. It's karma. This, though, is not getting justice, not taking accountability, and not living up to your karma. But both of these have to do with the legal and justice system. So I wonder who exactly was involved in this in Washington, D.C. Was it police? Was it a government official? Who is running these human trafficking rings? Because remember I said there is a reason why the police let out certain information and they hide certain information in order to paint a narrative to us. But this private investigations firm, and go ahead and look it up, LAUTH, Law Investigators, let me get these people's name right. Loft Investigations International, Inc. Loft Investigations International, Inc. Google them and look at what they said they found at the hotel. That 4 men were spotted at that hotel with kahliltatum that night. And 3 of them were seen leaving. But that is not what has been released to the public officially. Why not? Who are those men? And why are we led to believe that kahliltatum was there by himself with this girl, other than his wife being there and ending up dead? Why are we being told that he killed himself when on Steve Wilko's show, Relisha's grandmother said that he was shot 3 times? How can someone shoot themselves 3 times in the head? So, law enforcement, what are you hiding? Okay. Did kahliltatum kill his wife? Because he is blamed with the murder of his wife before he went out on the run. Did kahliltatum kill his wife at that Holiday Inn that night? I got the Knight of Swords, which lets me think that he ran. Either he ran or she ran. This is a knight that's carrying information, that's carrying a message, and he's swift. On the card, the horse is in mid-run, is in mid-gallop. This feather thingy on his helmet is blowing in the wind. Now, kahliltatum did go on the run after his wife, after he left the hotel. He did go on the run. He left in, I think, a white vehicle, and then he changed vehicles at some point. And then after that, the next thing we heard of him was that he was found in a park dead. And an anonymous tip is what led the police to find his body, because someone said that Relisha's body was there. But when they got there, they found him. This makes me think he was running for his life. In my spirit, he was running for his life because of what he knew, what he saw. I don't think he killed his wife. I think whoever was there with him at that hotel that night, and is the reason for why Relisha isn't seen leaving that hotel, is the person who killed his wife, and he took off so that he could survive. But he ended up not surviving. I'm going to clarify it, though. I'm going to clarify it. Why do I have this Five of Pentacles in reverse? This looks like a homeless shelter. Because you have a homeless woman, a beggar, outside of a church, seeking shelter. I asked if he killed his wife, though. And my spirit is telling me no. He knew who did kill his wife, though. And then he went on a run. His wife. His wife found out something. What did she find out? She found out whatever she found out, because the moon is in reverse, meaning whatever was hidden came to light. The star in reverse, it makes me feel like it devastated her. And the death in reverse. You know, I get the impression that she was suspecting things about what he was doing at the homeless shelter. The fact that he had met this girl at the homeless shelter that he was working at, and, you know, was spending all this time with her, was spending all this money on her, was bringing her around the family. I think she went with it because he was telling her, you know, she needs somebody, you know, she living in this shelter, her mama don't care nothing about her, so she needs us. And I think the wife went along with it, but she had her suspicions. Because the Seven of Cups is here too. So she knew something wasn't right. She just couldn't imagine what it was. She just couldn't imagine that it was what it was. Let me clarify this death card. Is she threatening to leave him? Was she going to leave him? Okay, so hold on, y'all. Hold on. Mm. She found out everything. She found out everything. Oh, she found out everything. She found out what was going on. Um, Let me ask again. Did Khalil kill his wife? Because I think that there's a possibility that he did kill her, except I don't think that he wanted to. Did Khalil kill his wife? You know what? I'm going to say that if he did, the decision came from someone else. Um, Either they were going to do it or he had to do it because she had found out everything and she was going to talk. And you know what? I almost think that Khalil, knowing what he was involved in and who he was involved in it with, knew that she wouldn't be safe. There was no way that he could get himself out of this situation because I do believe that he wanted out. I do believe that he started to not want to be a part of whatever he agreed to. Um, mm, Something went on in that hotel room and they were not alone. I got this five of wands in reverse. So at least five people were in this room, in that hotel room that night. Prior to him getting in that vehicle and leaving, and whatever happened in that room made him very, very, very sad and hurt and regretful, made him rethink everything that he was involved in. Something happened in that hotel room that night, and they were not alone. There were at least three other people in that hotel room that night, um, and that's not including Relisha. Um, it's a card that I keep pulling, this King of Wands. Um, okay, all right. Did he kill his wife in that hotel room? I don't know who pulled the trigger. I can't tell because it was because even if he did It wasn't his decision. Something happened in that room that night to where either he was going to do it or someone else was going to do it. And I almost feel like he didn't do it. I feel like someone else in that room did it. Or someone told him to tie up the loose ends. They were a happy family. I got the 10 of Cups when I was clarifying. So they were in a happy relationship. And that is why I got the 5 of Cups, because it really hurt him. The fact that she was brought into this. I don't think he did it. I don't think he did it. I think he feels responsible, which is why I couldn't tell whether he pulled the trigger or not, because why am I picking up his energy tonight? Well, he's definitely dead, so I think I'm reading his energy. I don't know if Relisha is dead because this isn't her speaking. All of this is from the point of view of kahliltatum. And it seems like he has the story to tell. Like he wants the truth to come out because the way that they painted this is not true. Somebody else, he was taking orders from somebody else, and he felt responsible for his wife's death, but he didn't pull the trigger. He felt responsible because of what he was involved in, and she found out, and she became a liability once she found out the truth. Okay. Did relisharudd, because this is what I really want to know. I keep picking up on his energy, so maybe I should continue speaking to Mr. Tatum. Was Relisha supposed to be trafficked? Was she supposed to be trafficked? Was she supposed to be trafficked or taken by someone else? Two of Cups in reverse makes me think of a transaction. This is usually a lovey-dovey card, but it feels to me like a handoff. You see these two people switching cups? And the High Priestess again. So the Two of Cups in reverse makes me think that this was some kind of transaction that was supposed to take place. He was supposed to hand her off to someone. And of course, it was supposed to be a secret transaction. Okay. I clarified, and I got the Knight of Wands in reverse, Seven of Wands, and the Hierophant. So what I'm going to say is, he was a scouter, and the knights are messengers. The knights in tarot are messengers, so they are delivering something. He was supposed to deliver her. However, he changed his mind. Because the Two of Cups in reverse is a transaction that should have taken place, but it's in reverse. He didn't want to do it. And this is him fighting off whoever was giving him orders. I don't want to do it. He didn't want to do it. And this is the establishment. This is the establishment. This is the organization. This is the system. He didn't want to do it. She was supposed to be trafficked, but he didn't want to do it. Eight of Cups in reverse. He didn't want to go. He didn't want to do it. He was supposed to hand her off, deliver the goods, but he didn't want to do it. Hand her off and walk away, but he couldn't do it. He couldn't do it. He couldn't do it. He didn't want to keep up with this shit. Honestly, Mr. Kahliltatum had a heart and he had a conscience. I know what this sounds like because of what came out about him, but you know, he had a record, and I believe that at some point when he was in jail or prison, or when he was getting in trouble for the things that he got in trouble for that had nothing to do with this, prior to all of this, I believe that is when he started being approached. I don't know if he was on any kind of parole or probation at any point, or what his interaction with the system was before he got that job, because I know that he took did a background check in order to get that job, and because he had those felonies, he shouldn't have been able to work there because there were children that lived there, but somehow he skated through. Somehow it was an oversight and he was still hired. And I believe that was on purpose, because he was supposed to be there to scout children. And Relisha was the one. And, he did what he was supposed to do by grooming her, preparing her, and getting in good with her mother. But, at some point, and maybe it was all the time that she spent at his home with his own family, with his own granddaughter, I believe that Mr. Tatum was just like, man, what the fuck did I get myself into? They want me to pass this girl off, knowing what's going to happen to her. And I can't do this. I think this might have been his first time. I can't do this. And he starts trying to back out of whatever agreement he made, whatever deal he made. Like this type of crime, like this type of high level crime, I think he was just thinking, there's no way that I'm going to get away with this. I don't think that he thought that he was going to be killed initially, but I know that he thought if push comes to shove, they're going to try to pin this on me. Like, it's no way that I can get away with this for the rest of my life. It's no way. It's no way. Remember, if you watch my Sanaya Dennis video, this was my international human trafficking card, because it's the world card, it's international. And in reverse, it makes me continue to think, and because I keep hearing in my mind, it just got messy. It got messy. And I think he started to get cold feet when he started to notice that he was being set up. And his associates, his undercover associates, who like to remain hidden, had to shut him up. They couldn't risk him saying anything in the long run because they even noticed that he, wasn't cut out for the job later on. They noticed that he could become a liability, that he could talk, and something tells me that they knew that his wife knew. So a judgment call was made for him because everything got messy when she became reported missing. And you know what? Something tells me that when the teacher alerted DCF, I don't think that DCF alerted the police right away. I don't even know if DCF is the one who called the police. It might have been the teacher who called the police after noticing that nothing had happened after she contacted DCF. So I want to say that these rings are a lot more organized than one would think. And it has to do with the Child Protective Services system. Because think of how many children end up missing, killed, and abused within the CPS system. That is almost a hub for human trafficking. So I almost get the feeling that it was around then when it was put in motion that we have to activate Plan B, which is the Patsy situation, because it's become reported. Once DCF was alerted, it was like, all right, let's activate the fail-safe plan and let's start putting things together in order for Khalil to take the blame. But they knew they were going to kill him. They knew all along that they were going to kill him uh, once Relisha was reported by her school teacher. Otherwise, he might not have been killed, but I still think that he would have because of the way he was starting to act. He was beginning to act like he was getting cold feet. Okay, my last question, because I said I wasn't going to be here for an hour, and here I am. Was Relisha trafficked? Maybe I already asked that, but I'm going to ask it again. Was Relisha Rudd trafficked? Was she sold off? Was she sold off? Was she trafficked? And I'm asking that specifically instead of did Kahliltatum kill her? Because my spirit is telling me I don't need to ask that question. My spirit is telling me you already know. Was Relisha trafficked? From that point, I'm not going to say she's still in a trafficking ring now, but was Relisha Rudd trafficked? Was she trafficked at some point? Was she handed off to some group or organization who was responsible for passing her along to someone else that is not her family? Was Relisha trafficked? You're damn right. Queen of Swords is, I I like to say Queen of Swords is me because I'm a Libra and the Queen of Swords is a Libra. And she is one who is clear thinking, who knows what she knows, who knows what she knows. And because the sword is pointing up, this is a yes for me. This is a yes, Dina. You're right. Yes, Dina. This is a message to me. Yes, Dina. You're right. Yes, she was trafficked. And here's the Three of Cups again. This is the organization. These are the people that Kahliltatum was working with, his associates. And they're reversed because they weren't friends. You know, they weren't chilling, having drinks. This was an association based on activities that people aren't supposed to know about. This was business. This was a business involving children. Because there's a baby in this card, the son. If I was doing a reading on someone trying to have a baby and I pulled this would be my baby. But here's this King of Swords again, the system. Somebody in an official position is involved in the business of trafficking this child. My goodness. I believe that she was supposed to be taken overseas, possibly, because I saw the Two of Wands in reverse. I don't know if they got that far because the Two of Wands in reverse. I want to ask is Relisharudd alive, but I don't want to ask that. I don't know if y'all just saw that light flicker. Is Relisharudd alive? So one of these light bulbs is dead, but it's flickering like it wants to come on. And I'm dropping a card. I dropped the High Priestess. I don't know if it's meant for me to know if she's alive. Y'all, I can't, I don't know everything and I'm not allowed to see everything. However, is Relisharudd alive today? Four of Cups. And on the bottom, Two of Cups. I'm going to clarify this Four of Cups, and then I am going to end this. Not because I'm scared. I know I keep looking up at this light bulb because it was flickering, and I ain't scared. It's just, I feel like the energy is different. So whomever I was pulling information from, I don't feel them anymore. And I almost feel like it was Kahliltatum. I feel like that is who was assisting me in this reading. And I don't think he knows if she's alive or not because he's dead. The Devil, the Star, and the High Priestess reverse. You know what I hear in my mind? I hope she is. You guys, I think I have been channeling Kahliltatum in this reading. Um, usually I would feel, you know what? I want to say that I think she's still alive. I feel like she's still alive, but she is not in the U.S. because I got the Three of Wands and the Six of Swords. Both of these mean travel, and this one is obviously traveling across water. But I don't have any cards about her. I don't have my Judgment card, and y'all know that when I'm speaking to the dead, my Judgment card comes out. I saw it in here, but it didn't come out in the reading. Actually, is Relisharudd alive somewhere? I got the Two of Swords in reverse. And it makes me feel stuck. It makes me feel stuck. I say it makes me feel stuck because it's a card of being stuck between a rock and a hard place. Stuck between a rock and a hard place. I think Relisha Rudd is alive somewhere. I could be wrong. That could just be wishful thinking on Kahliltatum's part. I wonder if he was a Leo, Sagittarius, or an Aries, because this King of Wands keeps coming up. So I'm going to end it there. I'm going to say that for sure Relisha was trafficked. Just like I said for Sanaya Dennis. And for sure she was transported somewhere across seas. For sure her mother is complicit. And is she alive? I believe she is. At least she was at the time that she disappeared, meaning I want to say within the first 3 years, 3 months, 3 years, 3 months, 3 years or 3 months of her disappearance while we were all over here searching for her, she was still alive. Whether she's alive now or dead, I can't see it. I pulled the High Priestess card, and that lets me know that I can't see it for some reason. And I'm not going to try to pretend like I saw it clearly. However, at the time that she disappeared, whether it was the first 3 months or 3 years, and I feel 3 years, 2017, I want to say she was still alive. And you know what else? This same Loft Investigations International Inc. When I was reading their notes from their investigation, they said in 2018, I think that there was a tip that Relisha's body could be found somewhere or something, and then they searched somewhere close to Pennsylvania Avenue, but she wasn't found there. So that's I think that's probably why I say the first 3 years she was alive, because 2014 to 2018 is about 3 years and some change, depending on when exactly in 2018 they start searching for her. So about 3 to 4 years went by before somebody had said anything about finding her body, before they looked for her body again, and then they still didn't find it. So I want to say within that time period, she was alive. And I don't know if she's still alive now, but I will be praying for her. I will be praying that she is found, either her remains or her physical alive body. And if she is alive, I will be praying that wherever she is, she's not being harmed. And if she isn't alive, I pray that she lets somebody know, if she can, from the other side, so that the people who are still concerned about her and still care about her can have peace, and so that she can have peace if she's not at peace. And maybe I can't feel her because she is at peace, because usually I pick up on people who are passed on, but they're not at peace, and they want somebody to help them to solve their case. So maybe she's alive and maybe she isn't alive, but she's not in a place of unrest. Either way, I'll be praying for Relisha Rudd, and I hope you guys do too. And thank you for watching an hour and 30 minutes in. I'm so sorry for going this long. I didn't mean to. Sorry. Not sorry, but sorry. Good night, guys.